this is my reaction. Me seeing her reaction to her child being dead was before that. That was at the hospital. And at the hospital, there was no reaction.
Do you reckon she had PTSD when she was at the hospital?
She hadn't made it aware to me or Investigator Riddle or any officer to that I knew of at that point.
Ding, 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 ding. She told him at the scene.
She didn't tell me at the scene. Because, again, like I told you, I was at the scene for a minute. I never saw her, and then I went to the hospital.
So is your testimony as an experienced former homicide detective that everyone reacts at least more excited or agitated than Miss Howell?
That has been my experience.
And you have no idea whether her PTSD would have any effect on her, how she reacts emotionally, do you?
No, sir, I do not.
But you know she was medicated, don't you?
No, sir, I don't know if she was medicated.
For the love of God, you went through her purse and pulled each bottle out and went through it with her. What's this for? What's this for? Right?
I did.
And she said it's all PTSD.
I don't know if she took. I never asked her if she took it. I just asked her what it was for. So I can't tell you for a fact if she was medicated or not.
You saw a whole bunch of pill bottles in that purse, didn't you? You were really amazed by it.
There were several pill bottles in that purse.
And you didn't ask, are you taking any of these right now?
No, sir.
But you did get interested in one of them, right?
Correct.
You asked her what it was for, and she said what?
Shingles.
You remember that?
Yeah, I
She
watched
said
the.
shingles.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then you said, and you let me hug on you?
Correct.
What was she supposed to do, armed investigator Wardlaw, fight you off?
If I've had people attempt to hug me before, and if I don't want to be hugged, I either say, don't hug me, or I don't reciprocate and put my arm around them. So if she had done either of those, I would have think that would have indicated I don't want to be hugged. But again, like we saw in the video, she reciprocated the hug, sir.
And those people were trying to hug you and you didn't want to be hugged? And you locked in their interview room?
Yeah, I've been locked in an interview room with people that have tried to hug me before.
You thought that was okay with her?
Again, sir.
Did you ask her?
She was a grieving mother.
Did you ask her if she'd like a hug?
No, sir, I didn't ask her.
Okay. And then you say, and after you find out she had shingles, you let me hug on you. And then start talking about my kids. I got kids. I can't take shingles home.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Is that in the transcript?
Yeah.
I said that?
Yeah.
I said those words in the transcript.
You said, he says, you let me hug on you. He says that he's got kids. And you start talking about how do you catch shingles? I can't be getting shingles.
Again, could you let me see that? Because you keep wanting me to testify to things, and you're trying to put words in my mouth, and you have it readily available, but you won't let me see.
What happened? I don't feel like you're telling us. He's smart as fuck, dude. If you talk to him, you agree.
Can't mess with none of your money, so I'm still right there, okay?
When we get out there, you let us search your car.
You sure you don't know how to get in touch with Antoine? Because we really like to talk to him.
No, thank you.
So what's this one? Clover, what's that?
I have shingles from stress.
Well, that is no good. You got all kinds of contagious, are you? You just now, you let me hug on you, tell me you got shingles.
Damn. And he's got a small child.
This is love.
What's this? Fluoxetine or whatever.
What's Prozac?
That's Prozac.
All this stuff whenever I got raped.
Cellcobix or whatever.
Yep, I have arthritis. I was in a really bad car wreck.
Now do you remember your reaction to her telling you that's the shingles medicine?
Your question was that I said you're taking this home to my kids. I never said anything. All I did was look at her after I said you let me hug you and you have shingles. So no, I never made a comment about taking it home to my kids. That's what you asked. Is that not what you asked me?
At the end of this segment, as you're walking out the door, do you ask her, when we get to the house, can you give me some of that shingles medicine?
That wasn't your question. Your question was, I'm answering your first question, which was I made a comment about I was taking it home to my kids. I never made a comment about taking anything home to my kids. I just looked at her. Then when I was leaving out, as you say, again, if you're going to say I made a comment, I would like to see it.
You know the jury's already seen this, right?
I haven't. I haven't seen it while I've been in here.
Well,
so.
we'll let them then decide whether or not you're being truthful, officer. Now,
Ask the questions.
oh, now, I would ask you just, I'm on page 18.
You're gonna ask him.
I'm gonna ask him to read page 18 to himself quietly. Then I'll ask him a question.
The whole page?
Your Honor, I think it's improper impeachment. I think he has to ask him a question on something
Ask
that he
him,
said.
okay. You brought up Antoine as a possible suspect, and you asked her if it was possible that he did. He came in there, he's angry about the situation, and he shot Destiny. And I said, do you remember her saying that? Do you remember her answering? You said, show it to me. Read page 18, please. Let me know when you're through. Skip that last long paragraph.
That's what I'm actually reading.
So, do you recall asking her if it's possible that Antoine did this?
I do.
What did she say to you?
She said she knew it wasn't him, but I explained to you earlier why I came to that assumption. Just because she told me it wasn't him doesn't mean that's believable. She told us, sir, are you going to let me answer the question, sir? Are you going to let me answer the question, sir?
Answer the
That was not
question.
responsive, Judge. He's
It was
editorial.
responsive, but finish your answer, then ask the next question. Do not talk over each other.
Like I said, I told you guys earlier why I came to that assumption. Just because she told us it wasn't him doesn't mean it wasn't him. She told us several things that turned out not to be true. And I explained to you about how in domestic situations, what usually happens. We have domestics all the time where we get called and the person say, oh no, they didn't do anything, or it wasn't that person. because they take up for each other. So in this situation, it could have been something to that effect. And again, when I asked her that, all she had to say was no if it wasn't Antoine. But she didn't say no. She ran with it and accused somebody else.
The hell you say? Read aloud that answer right there from Ms. Howington about whether or not Antoine did it.
She says, I know it ain't Antoine, I promise. And then she said it was Antoine.
Just say no.
Sir, again, I'm answering. Sir, again, I'm answering.
I haven't asked a question.
I'm
I asked him to read it, and he read it.
He read it. Ask the next question.
That's
Do
what
not
I'm
talk
trying to
over
do.
each other.
You just told this jury that if it wasn't Antoine, all she had to do was tell you no. And when she tells you no, you don't care.
Sir,
She told you no, didn't she?
at which point in the interview does she tell me that?
Did she
At
tell
which
you
point
no?
in the interview did she tell me that,
I'm
sir?
answering the question.
She told me that
Answer his question, then move on.
She told me that before.
Multiple times. Answer his question, then
She
move
said-
on to the
she
next
said no.
topic. Answer his
She
question.
told you no, didn't she?
At the beginning of the interview, she said no.
The hell, Judge, it's not asked and answered.
We're gonna
It's a
take
simple
5
yes or no
minutes.
question.
All rise. All right. Mr. Whalen, I have given you great latitude to ask question after question of this officer, but this particular topic has been covered time and time again. Officer Wardlaw, when he asks a question, respond to it. Do not talk over each other. Don't ask him questions. Respond to his questions. But this topic has been covered. So when I bring them back in here, move on to something else.
Judge, I was well.
I
I
have
understand. I'm
ruled.
not asking you to rule on anything, Judge. I'm trying to build a record here. I asked the question. I couldn't find it in the transcript at the second. It took 15 minutes for us to locate it, so I had to come back to it because I didn't have the question answered, and I had to ask it in the proper way.
He has answered the question. Move on to a different topic. How much longer is your cross-examination? I'm trying to figure out when to break for lunch.
I'm done. That
Okay.
was it.
All right, well, let's bring them back in here and finish up the cross-examination. Waive the call. All right, well, then you're recognized for further cross-examination.
Officer, I have two questions for you. During that interview, did she tell you she was protecting Guy? Without your telling me whether or not I believe it, did she tell you she was protecting Guy?
She said something about, I think she did. I can't be positive, but I think she did.
seems to you that she may have been trying to protect him.
Oh, yes, sir.
You ready, Rick?
Hang on.
All right, you may step down, Detective Wardlaw. Well, now, since I brought you back in here, it's almost lunchtime. You needed the exercise, right?